Amina.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today
channel.
we're watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood Season 1, Episode 26. I hope we get a fight this episode. I want to see Ed and Ling versus whatever the fuck Envy has become.
Yeah, he's super heavy.
Yep.
And we're gonna fight him.
Want to know what else is heavy? A conversation between Bradley and Roy Mustang about how Rise is going to be his new assistant.
The tension was very thick in the air. And we have the idea of, like, some kids are just more annoying to Bradley than others.
Yup. He would never. You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
They're all separated. That's what he's wearing right now.
Yep. Do you think Al's gonna actually meet Father?
Great question.
Oh my god.
Why are we seeing Ed in his current outfit in the actual depiction of the Doorway of Truth when we know we're in this, like, fake failure version?
Yeah. Defective Doorway of Truth. Ah! Oh. The animation!
We're gonna die anyway in here.
Oh!
Fight to the death.
How you liking that sword, bud?
Not really his style. Oh.
Oh!
Oh, that is so messed up. It's like he... But what made that monster, you know?
It's confronting the actuality of what a Philosopher's Stone is.
And is it like killing those people all over again, or is it freeing them to fight Envy? How do you like this power? Let's play. I'm done playing around. A place that lies not necessarily in reality or truth. Somewhere in between.
Reunion.
We know what it means to go inside the belly for gluttony. What does it mean to go inside the belly for envy?
Aw, wanted posters.
Easy to find.
Yeah, recognizing gluttony. Do you think we're going down into, like, the sewer that we see in the intro?
I feel like Scar has some understanding of Ed and Al, as they have some of him. I'm sure it's really weird for him.
Yeah, both her and Ling can sense.
A lot of things crawling around under our feet. I mean, this has been going on since, what, the birth of this nation, they've said?
Oh. So Xiao Mei can sense it too? Xiao Mei will be our missing gauntlet.
The gatekeepers. Gatekeepers. The gatekeepers.
Do you think it's the dogs that we see?
But doesn't know everything enough to actually create the doorway.
What are we to do?
We're both in a place with things crawling around.
The stone?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Oh, Mei Chang!
They did say if you're with me, but they weren't with him. They weren't with Gluttony.
Jesus.
But how fitting.
Let's
to be a
go!
from the OP.
Oh!
Oh. It's gonna be tough. Yeah. No.
Is it Sloth? Oh no.
People. See, I thought she was reacting to the reality of chimeras there. People.
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
It couldn't just
Soul
be.
Calibur.
私は親の名も顔も自身の名前すら覚えていない。捨てられたか売られたか。
この国を背負って立つのは誰かな？君かな？
大総統候補。我々はそう呼ばれた。そして一箇所に集められ、さまざまな教育を受けた。帝王学、人間学から軍隊格闘、射撃、剣術に至
Oh,
る。
what?
What happened to the ones that didn't succeed?
彼は君が目的を遂げるための駒だったんだ。
自分がこの国を動かす人物になる。そう信じ私はどんな訓練にも耐えた。
How'd your eye happen?
このものもダメでした。
次だ。
Compatibility?
Mm-hmm.
そこに横になって。
Oh, I don't want to see this. Oh, oh.
これは楽にしていたまえ。すぐに終わる。何をする気ですか？あの死体は。
12人目か。
12th one.
我が奮闘を受け入れる
What the
Who
fuck?
accepts my wrath?
賢者の石は多くの人間の魂が含まれた高エネルギー体だ。
Oh!
体へ入ると拒絶反応で暴れ肉体を乗っ取ろうとする。愛と報酬は元の体が死ぬか賢者の石に打ち勝つまで繰り返された。
Or overcame.
やがて
素晴らしい新たな人類だ。おめでとう。君はこの国を導くリーダーとして選ばれたのだ。
The fact that father hasn't been working alone for all of this.
君の名は今日からキングブラッドレイ。
残ったのはたった一つの魂と
And the feeling of wrath.
賢者の石にされた誰かのものなのか、もともとの己のものなのかもうわからんのだ。人間に戻れと？無理だな。君たち人間が人間であることに誇りを持っているように、我々にもホムンクルスとしてのプライドがある。あの女もそのプライドを持って死んでいっただろう。
Acknowledging the pride.
この辺にあるのは全部集めたよ。
これみんなクセルクセスの。
ああ、遺跡の神殿にあった大壁画の一部だ。
To think he would have swallowed something maybe so important.
第五研究所地下にあったのと同じ賢者の石の錬成人かと思った。つまりあそこに描かれていたのは人体錬成の人だ。
人体錬成。
この世に存在しない魂を錬成によって生み出すことはできない。そのことは確かめた。で、ここを出る方法をひらめいたんだが、生きている人間を俺が俺を錬成し直すってのはどうだ？
錬成し直す？
ああ、俺がこの錬成人を使って自分を分解し、また元通りに再構築する。これも人体錬成だ。きっと扉が開く。グラトニーが偽りの真理の扉だというなら、
We just gotta get to the real
正し
one.
い扉をくぐれば正しい空間に出られるんじゃないだろうか。リバウンドだ。術の失敗は行使したものに全て跳ね返る。この場合は俺にな。
Well, if we're gonna die here anyway, it's like
関しては門外漢だ。任せよう。
よし。
gotta try it, you know?
これは完全なる存在を示す。つまり神を地に落とし、自らが完全な存在となるって意味だ。
大それたことを考える。
Yeah, right?
考えただけならいい。問題は欠けていたこの部分だ。太陽を飲み込む獅子の図。これは賢者の石を示す。賢者の石の材料は生きた人間。そうだな、エンビ。あれほど栄えたクセルクセスの国が一夜にしてなぜ滅んだ？国民の行方は、ここに遺跡の一部があるのは証拠隠滅のためじゃないのか？お前らクセルクセス国民全員賢者の石にしちまったな。
An entire population of people.
国民全員を賢者の石にして、その強大な力を手に入れ、神をも超える存在になろうとしたのは誰だ？お前の言うお父様か。そいつはお前らホムンクルスを使ってこの国でクセルクセス滅亡の再現をやろうとしてるんじゃないのか？扉を開けるとなれば必要なのは通行料だろう。使えよ。
I mean, Envy wants to get out too, so...
これみんなクセルクセスの人たちなんだな。肉体も精神も遠の昔に朽ち果ててエリーとして消費されるだけの存在さ。自分がどんな姿だったかも覚えちゃいないよ。魂だけの弟を人間と認めたいから似たようなこいつらを人間と思いたいだけだ。大昔に滅んだ木がかわいそうだからって石炭を火にくべるのをためらうのか？
Jesus.
こいつらはもう人間には戻れない。感情じゃなくて理屈で人間の定義にせよ。
Delineate what a human is.
俺にもしものことがあったら、この連中の企みを外の奴らに伝えてくれ。お前の
お前を待ってる大事な人たちがいる国だろ。生きてここから出て自分で伝えろよ。
I love when characters won't let another character be like, if I die. It's like, no, don't talk like that.
I will use you with care.
あの手を合わせるポーズ、何かに似てると思ったら、まるで神への祈りじゃないか。
Look at his hair. Oh! Decompose is right.
they really forgotten who they were?
肉体と魂は精神によってつながっている。精神の導くまま全てを委ねて扉に。
Oh.
Look at the arm and the leg.
取り戻しに来たんじゃないのか。
この中にお父様がいるんだね。ここに兄さんの手がかりが。
なんで扉が2つあるんだ。
Oh my god, it's Al.
ダメだよ。君は僕の魂じゃない。
You aren't my soul.
一緒に行けない。
The laughing.
The outro is telling me to cry. I forever want a still of Ed breaking back through the door and pointing the finger to Al. That was amazing. Hearing the outro come in early with that was
amazing.
breathtaking.
It was like the feeling that I got from that moment was like euphoric.
Yeah.
There was something about it that was like
it literally pushed the soul out of my body. That's
Yeah,
what it
yes!
felt like. I don't mean to be insensitive, Al. I'm sorry.
how dare you?
Okay, that was Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood Season 1, Episode 26. Best moment in the series. Question mark, exclamation mark.
This episode
Statement of fact.
being the best.
Recently, I've had a lot of favorite episodes within
It's
the
very
series.
I'm glad you're
But
aware. That
I
you
think
said that.
this is different. This differentiates from the others because I love the episode as a whole, don't get me wrong, but the last 30 seconds of this episode was the best moment in this entire series for me so far. Him breaking back through that door makes me want to weep, and it was done so well. The timing was great, the editing was great, the music was great, and thematically, I didn't see it coming. Everything that has been made point blank fact next about alchemy, about the world that we're in, has told me that that was not possible. Ed should not have been able to do that, but he did it, and that makes me want to cry.
Mm-hmm. I think that they started building kind of some effective emotion building moments early on in the episode to get probably the viewer into a certain headspace through storyboarding, through audio, through everything, to have that final moment at the end especially hit the way that it did. The music coming in, how we described, and you even said, it was almost like part of your body was lifted out of your chair. And I find that it's incredibly hard to actually explain what that feeling was like in that moment that he broke through, and then the music from the outro started coming in.
I think that just God, the imagery here that I have pulled
The
up.
finger pointing through. Yeah.
What a phenomenal composition. Oh my, like
the last thing we see as the doors are closing is that Al's body that is in front of us, a small but real kind of smile appears on his face.
The scrunch that you get is almost like on Ed's face, right in between his eyebrows. It's almost like a dog's like snarling. You know what I mean? Like there's such aggression and intent and truth just from...
It's conveying...
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely conveying what it should be conveying.
Oh,
it's
okay.
working.
Question.
Okay.
It wasn't something I expected to see, Al's body.
Yeah.
And on one hand, like it should be talked about and acknowledged how devastating it is, sad it is,
how like
as
emaciated his body is.
Yeah. What is it? Like, if okay, we get, okay, let me bring it up in this idea of questioning. When we get Bradley and Roy talking to each other about what happened to him and what was left after the procedure with Bradley, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is it who he was to begin with that's overcome it, or is it a new thing? Mm-hmm. With what we see of Al at the end of the episode, we know Al's soul is within the armor. Mm-hmm. Is this a piece of Al's soul left in the body that if we ever get it back, they will conjoin and make up Al? Or is this Al's body being like held hostage by God? Because that's where I would have aligned my thoughts and beliefs, if not for it felt like we got a bit of Al's personality in the responses from him, right?
Right. So I think the question that you
aren't my soul, but mm-hmm. you could be saying that from God's perspective.
The kind of line of questioning that you're bringing up definitely takes us back to Al's fear of the fabrication of memories, which have obviously been quelled through, especially us realizing there was a moment with Winry that even Ed didn't know and wasn't aware of, which is why Winry rejected Al's advances and love. But we get this distinction between the three parts really heavily in this episode. The three parts that make a human, if you will, the body, the mind, and the soul. We have Ed saying as he's coming to get and arrive to the doorway, he's saying his mind is leading him there. And here we have what is Al's body, and then we have the idea that I'm gonna get your soul. So where is Al's mind? You know, if they're all three separate, and we know we attached the soul to the armor, does the mind come with the soul? How connected is everything?
I think it is. I think it is. You know?
You think it is
connected to the armor.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think that it just kind of, to me at the moment, it just feels like there's pieces and fragments. Like, no matter what, you can't completely separate. Because it still needs to be connected to still recognize. Like, could you ever actually completely separate? I think Bradley opens that line of thinking. Like, could his original soul ever, an original person that he was born to be, ever actually be completely severed from who he has become through whatever means those scientists enacted upon him to make him into the holder of wrath?
Yeah, but I mean, we've been given like such a good example of what a soulless body looks like from a suit of armor that the soul is currently inhabiting. And because of that, and the drastic, granted, this isn't Al's body on Earth or in the tangible world of Fullmetal Alchemist, and it's behind the doorway, so the situation's inherently different.
Yeah, I'm only bringing it up because of the fact that we're stating three things as three kind of different things that all come together.
Like, where do you put Barry the Chopper in comparison then? Like, where is was his mind and soul both in, and that would be the difference that you're suggesting, where he had both mind and soul in the suit, and only Al would have soul?
No, I'm not suggesting that Al only has one.
Okay.
I was purely bringing up that they've all been said to be distinctive things, and only the word soul is being used.
Where would you
more often
where
for
would you
Al.
hedge your bet then, right? So if we have an example of Barry the Chopper who is able to see his full body that has nothing in it, or maybe has been replaced with something else, right? Compared to what we see of Al and then what Ed is able to see of Al.
I would probably hedge my bet that mind and soul are together within Al, but that doesn't mean there isn't a mind within this. Because it seems like, because how could there be this reaction? How could there be an Alphonse, and how could it not just be the god within the body of Alphonse in front of us here? This is obviously Al listening to his brother and being aware in some sort of consciousness that exists in this reality, not reality, truth place.
I don't know. See, I agree with you, but I can see a reality that it's the opposite.
You can see reality, that it's a fabrication?
No, that it's like, I'm thinking like Eternals, like the Marvel movie for some reason. Like
Multiverse?
I
haven't seen a lot of
it's a bad comparison regardless, but to get my point across, I'll try to describe it better. I can see it acting as like a husk that has to follow fundamental laws of the universe that is being put forth by God. And if nothing's there and it's just the body and the soul isn't there at all, but it has been taken by God, it needs to fulfill fundamental rules in order to be taken back. And by doing so, your response is the body's response is enacting to law that has been placed by God. Therefore, it would be talking from God's perspective, saying that, nope, I can't go back. You're not my soul. Technically, it is Al's body talking, but technically, it's Al's body reciting what was told to recite to him by the law that was enacted by God. Does that make sense?
That I can see where you're going with that. Like that the vessel is still being
vessel's a good word. Supernatural. There we go.
The vessel is being maintained in a manner that is appropriate for it to be eventually taken back one day, hopefully.
Correct. And it's just empty.
The vessel is being maintained in a different way than Barry the Chopper's was, which was the body was decaying and a rat's soul or whatever was put inside of it.
Yeah, this is more ethereal. That's another way of looking at it.
This exists in a plane that is separate.
God, this was such a great moment. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to want to talk about anything else.
But there are other things to talk about.
Yep.
Like, how did we get here? The fact that we all work together in a way, like all agreed to a plan. Mainly the working together is on Envy and Ed's part. The kind of offering of the stone in this way to Ed in order to get us out of here, to help power it up. It does, I think one of the questions I have coming out of once we exit the doorway and return to the real world, does Envy change at all? We had that person who was probably from Xerxes saying thank you to Ed, which gives the energy like Envy's not going to have the power source that he had prior. Mm-hmm. That some of those people that had been utilized are gone now.
I think it gives it so well because of the thank you, right? Yeah. It's almost like you are extinguishing the energy that Envy has been like actively utilizing and extinguishing it and putting it to rest.
Well, we're utilizing the wordage that was used is they are here to be consumed.
Yeah.
They have now all been consumed by this action that we all agree upon here. So what does that mean for Envy as a homunculus in the aftermath? In the next episode, when we see him again, when we return to the plane of the humans.
Yeah.
What does that mean for him?
He could be back in his awesome character design body if you had it your way.
Is he going to be weaker?
Is he going to be non-existent at all and Al's pulling a fast one on him? I don't know. I don't think that's the case.
Or like Ed's pulling a fast one on him?
Yeah, sorry. I also, do you think that they're just going to, spawn next to Gluttony and Al?
Oh, I don't think, wait. Now that
you know what I mean?
That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you first said it, I was like, no, we're just gonna spawn right back where we were sucked into the belly. And then I remembered, oh, the belly's connected, but it's connected to gluttony, even though it exists in this, like, separate place. So that does kind of open up the question of, are they going to spawn in front of Father?
Yeah.
If we're literally about to walk in to meet Father, and Al's thought process is, this guy's gonna have the answers, and we're already doing our own thing on the other side, are we gonna just all... Is that
converge at that point? Like,
is that a better way to meet Father? To have gluttony suddenly pop out, Ling, Ed, and Envy in front of Father, and then Al and Ed meet him at the same time? Is that better?
Cold as fuck, given what Father's been attempting and doing this entire time, for Ed to come back from gluttony in the way that he did and make his entrance like that, make his walkout like that. Also, we have Scar that's basically about to come with us too. Like, we're all so close together.
We're all about to converge. But Bradley and Roy aren't necessarily converging. I mean, they're kind of doing their separate thing at the moment. When I would have thought of, like, everyone converging in one location, I would have thought that at least maybe Roy as a character would be involved, because of, like, where I deem him in terms of plot importance. Yeah. But he's kind of tied up in a predicament.
No, I don't even want to talk about that yet. I need time to get to that.
You need time to get to that.
Yeah, I was looking at my phone notes for a second because I had written something down right after we finished last discussion, and I was like, damn, I wish I said it. It has nothing to really do with anything this episode or last episode, but about Sloth, and we got the idea of him digging from... I don't know, 8 episodes ago. And I was like, well, obviously, not obviously, you could make the assumption that what he's doing is making that massive transmutation circle.
Did we have to do that underneath Xerxes in order to use the people?
I mean, yeah.
We're recreating the same circumstance, the same transmutation circle. I think I could see that being the case.
Okay, fine. We can talk about it. Roy and Bradley's conversation. I feel like it's a really hard topic to talk about. Like, if you look at what they're doing and what was going on, it's maybe one of the worst things that we've seen in this series. I feel like I was listening to a podcast talking about horrible events in history, and to try to give some levity within discussing the points, every once in a while they give, like, a home improvement fact. Like, oh, did you know that Tim the Toolman Taylor, he's always wearing sweatshirts on the show, and each of them were actually just gifted to him. He never actually had to pay for any of them. And it's just kind of like, oh, we don't have to be miserable all the time. We don't have to face... Oh,
you meant Home Improvement, the show.
Yeah, and we don't have to live in the reality that we have to discuss humans being able to have forgotten every ounce of humanity that they have in their desire for horrific testings and human experimentation, because that's what the fuck's going on this episode. Mm-hmm. And people are literally being injected just to die in hopes of a giddy success. Maybe it doesn't even fucking matter.
If anything, what we've learned here in terms of what they were doing with people, it unfortunately is fitting if you think about the mindset of, or a story that's going to have usage of pre-existing live humans, the train of thought to go from there to having children born for a specific purpose to utilize as fodder, if you will, as materials, as sacrifices. Like, we already have the idea of people who are currently alive that have gone through their own lives and experiences that we now look at and we're like, oh, we could use those. But we're getting this picture painted of children kind of being born into, like, we already have the pre-existing idea before you even land in our lap that we're going to utilize you for this purpose and see if you make it to be your prospective kings.
It's easier to digest for me when it's a big bad named Father who is able to utilize alchemy to do these horrendous things. When you show me regular human scientists nodding their head, having little gold teeth, thinking they're fucking cool when they're not, and just doing it thrill of it and for the question.
It brings the humanity back to the evil, is what it does.
It is the worst thing.
Because Father exists in this place that is almost on the same plane as this god figure that we see. It exists in this way that feels like it's otherworldly. It feels like it's not anywhere close to human. The homunculi have felt to us like, oh, they're not supposed to exist in this plane of being human either, but then we're kind of making that more complex with whatever the creation of Bradley actually was. And does he still exist within the original? That conversation comes into play. It brings the humanity back to the idea that these actions and the furthering of this awfulness that has been going on for 200 plus years has all been the making of humans. This has all been the desire and greed, not by some otherworldly being that wants to bring devastation to the world and hurt people, but people wanting to climb the ladder.
It's also just another point, another argument that Bradley and Father will have. Like, yeah, you can say what you're saying, but like, I'm not alone. This is just another human who's wanting to do it. Like, what would you say of their justification? Obviously, it's fucking wrong and will be fought against. But like, I just hate it. I hate, in my mind, before now, there was an underground department and world controlling everything. But that underground department and world, even in my mind, I'm like, okay, you have a room full of 5,000 people that you're holding hostage. That's as far as I was thinking. Not you're raising children to do this and scientists are actively like letting them kill each other just to evolve.
Mm-hmm. And if you honestly think about it, this with the added idea of Salem, like Bradley says Salem, he doesn't know who his parents were. Did he have them? Where
was
did
he one
come
of these
to
kids?
Be? Was Salem a kid that was being raised to be the next king, or was it just the scenario of that is Bradley with still alive within himself that he would adopt a child? Or, I don't know. Obviously, he probably needed to have an heir in order to continue. But if you're thinking about him having an heir, you'd then think that at one point Selim would then take control. But if you're going to utilize this entire nation for a transmutation circle, then why does Bradley actually need a child? Is it more so because he saw a kid, he saw some sort of connection between him and that kid, and there is a humanity to him to why he adopted Selim? Because if there's no prolonged existence for this nation, why does he need to have a child?
When Bradley is acknowledging the pride that humans feel in themselves about being humans, but then also there being pride in being a homunculi, is he putting the pride of the homunculi over the pride of humans, or is he putting them on the same tier? Because if he's putting the pride of
conversation,
because if he's putting homunculi higher, then what he's saying about Selim makes no sense to me. And if he's...
I wouldn't see in that conversation, I think that's a good question. In that conversation, it doesn't sound like he's saying one is higher than the other. He's saying we're both... It sounds
this body
more like
transcends
we both
a
do
human
the same
one.
thing. But then when it comes to the conversation of having pride in who you are, it does sound like he's putting them on the same... He's not saying, and we have even more pride because of how awesome we are.
He's saying we both have this, right?
We both have this thing. Because if you think about it, wrath, pride, gluttony, all of these things exist because they exist within humans. And Father gave his wrath, a kind of condensed version of a human flaw or sin into Bradley.
Like, going back to human, impossible, right? This body transcends a human one. We don't get any, like, it is a far superior form. That can all be objective reality, right? That doesn't...
You're so right. I think that's a good word. I think that it's completely objective.
Yeah.
It lives longer. Mm-hmm. It's faster.
Yeah.
Stronger.
That doesn't necessarily, okay, let's have a scenario that he does, which still doesn't make any sense to me. He does have that, like, adoration and love for what Selim is as a good boy, and you don't want that humanity to be changed because that's what happened to him, right? That could happen. It doesn't make sense yet, but it could. And
I think that we're right in trying to unpack it.
Yeah.
I think that we will get more in the future in terms of trying to
have
understand
to.
Bradley here, especially with him being one of the only homunculi that we can envision as once a human boy.
Yeah.
I feel like that means that there is complexity to how he is probably going to feel in the future, and even gives him more wiggle room. Like, we have Pride up in the corner, disembodied voice kind of being like, don't go against father, don't do anything that's tyranny. You know, would we be saying that to any of the other homunculi? No, because they act on the impulse of what they were created to be. But Bradley is different. How much of the human still exists within him?
Yeah. Ed continues to be one of my favorite characters, and I feel like an idiot for ever doubting him. I think that when I inevitably rewatch the series, I'm just going to be staring into his eyes the entire time because I feel like so much is going on. I wanted to bring up a reference, like Envy saying to Ed, these people can never go back to being human.
Like
Use
Bradley.
logic, not emotion, to delineate what a human is, Alchemist. It's so fucking, horrifyingly ironic, because you're saying, when you're Envy on one hand, these people can never go back to being human, but you're trying to convince Ed to do something that is baseless, that is losing his humanity, right? Ed, as he sees it, if he does use logic, not emotion, to delineate what a human is and go forward with it, which he does, he might be losing part of what he feels makes him human. And that's the same justification that he's being given.
I feel like that's one of the reasons why it's so beautiful that he gets something said to him by one of what we can assume is the people that is within and the makeup of Envy. That there is an emotion there, that he can live with the fact that he set these people free, if you will.
There's a fucked up validation.
Fucked up logic too. Like, yeah, it's objectively true that they're gonna maybe actually get to be at peace, but that's still, you're wiping their existence away.
See, I think it's more like,
kill?
It seems objectively true, at least, that these humans will never be able to go back to what they were, and that's fine, I guess. But what isn't objectively true yet, or is an unknown to Ed, is like, if there is anything left in there, is if the pleading of humans was something from Envy, or was it what he feared, that it was leftover souls that still have that idea of humanity, and it's just an unknown, and then we have to make a decision, but it's not until after the decision is made that we get a little bit of a breath of like, okay, maybe what I did can be seen as
at least the right thing at the end of the day. I think that it's kind of right to call into question just the trustworthiness of the mouth that you're hearing these words from. Like, obviously a trustworthiness in terms of like, I don't feel like he's lying, but what is his actual understanding of if it's possible to make them human again or not? Like, would Envy actually have all that information? I don't know. Is it actually possible at the end of the day? We obviously get the comparison with, like, what is Al? If we're getting the idea that there is at least some sort of consciousness within these beings in order for them to talk to Ed in the way of, like, begging for help, but Envy says that it doesn't exist in them, but then we get a thank you. It definitely leads to, like, that idea of there's at least fragments, there's at least pieces of these people. Is it just like their body is working how it always was, even if the soul's been removed, and it's disconnected, and so the fragments aren't something that you should hold on to as like grieving? I don't know. I think that I have a lot of questions in terms of what is the reality of the beings that are the people that were fair. Within Envy.
I have another question for you.
Oh, okay.
Do you think anybody has ever gotten the Xiao Mei drawing as a tattoo?
It'd be super cute.
I'm sorry for derailing you.
I think that it's possible that someone has gotten this as a tattoo.
Okay.
I feel like people have definitely gotten Scar's arm tattoo, 100%.
That's fair. It's not Scar's arm, but yeah.
How about Scar gets this as his tattoo on his other arm?
Oh, perfect.
Wouldn't that be perfect?
Damn.
The last thing that I would want to say, other than just the fragments and pieces idea. Okay.
Sorry.
The last thing that I would want to say is, maybe it's not the last thing. Okay, one of the last things that I would want to say is that I really loved, this was a part of the starting of the emotions within the episode, was getting Mei Chang's almost like physical repulsion to the feelings underneath her own feet,
That's what I was going to
as
talk
if she
about.
was like, you could almost imagine it like she felt she was stepping on
Yeah.
people. Like that's how it felt.
It
me.
was almost like she was like standing in Gluttony's belly for
Yeah.
a second. And
Yeah.
I want, like, so when she says like bodies underground, that, what is your interpretation of it after we get everything from Bradley's perspective? And then do you think that it's different than what that answer is? And do you think it's more talking about all the wires hooked up to Father?
I think that it's possible that there were other reasons why we're holding a bunch of people underground, you know, other than creating prospective kings. I think you could say that they were doing experiments to create chimeras. Like, there are probably a lot of, if we have the entire underground, if you will, of Central as a layer, there's a lot of room to be doing a lot of messed up stuff. And we know that it takes a lot of people in order to create the homunculi, create the stones, create prospective people that could be vessels to parts of Father, feelings of Father. It could be potentially Bradley's life expectancy could be shorter than, you know, the other homunculi because he was originally a human. Maybe they still are doing prospective king stuff in order to, if the possibility that this timeline is longer than they hope for, they're still kind of have other vessels and other ammo. What if something happens to Bradley? We would want something else to be able to take its place. That's possible. Or it could just be on an emotional level, not an actual physical, literal level, but more just there's so many people that lost their lives under this ground in this place.
I also can imagine, like, just people that have been turned into, like, stones or another method of it being hooked up to these hoses that are all being pushed to the chair that sits Father. And it is like a never-ending source of the power that could, you know, keep him alive or give him what he needs to be able to do everything that he has done.
I think that I would agree with you at the moment that it could possibly just be purely within Father. Like when Ling looks at Gluttony the first time, he's like, how many people are inside you? And you would think by that reaction, obviously, and what we know of the creation of Envy now, that they have a lot of people inside of them for them to come to be. But Father is the top of the pyramid. Father could most definitely have even more of an absurd amount of people within him or powering him or keeping him alive than Envy and Gluttony.
How Hohenheim ties in at this point, I have no fucking clue. Like, I have no idea. I in 1,000 years would never think we would be coming up to meet Father potentially at the beginning of the next episode, at the start of this episode. That's crazy.
It feels like something that shouldn't be happening yet, like a actual meeting with Father.
Yeah.
Because what it tells me is, like, we aren't going to be captive after a meeting with Father. If we do meet Father in the coming episode, then it couldn't be possible that we would then be captives.
I don't know. Roy's still out there. Well, not really, but, like, what do you think there's any reaction from Ed or Al to the appearance of Father and how it looks so similar to, like, an older Hohenheim?
There could be a reaction to how he physically looks. It could be possible that he never turns around from his chair and he's just a voice to them and they're not able to actually confront him face to face. At the moment, I just view it hard to have an interaction with him here without him just deciding to set us free, quote unquote. Especially if you view power scaling. Like Scar points it out to us in this episode, how difficult it would be to take down Gluttony alone, but how difficult it would take to kind of take down this entire operation. We don't even know the actual scheme of things completely. Like, we keep learning in these past couple
The
episodes.
scale, like,
the scale,
yeah.
the how many people are actually under the finger of this plan, how many humans are actually a part of this.
It just keeps getting deeper.
And so it tells me, like, we don't know how many soldiers are in here that know about it. We don't know who we'd have to fight and how many we'd have to fight. And so I feel like if there's still precious sacrifices, I feel like at this moment it would be like it's not time for you yet.
Interesting.
Sort of interaction.
All right. Well, that's all I have you.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.